So as you may have seen, I got to talk to the cast and crew of Futurama about their latest season that is just released on Hulu. But during these interviews, I actually also got some really awesome information about the future of the show, some really interesting tidbits, stuff I've been wanting to ask for years, and maybe some stuff that they shouldn't have let slip yet. So I basically got to ask David X. Cohen about Leela being the other, and if you've been a fan of mine, you know that this is a question I've obsessed over for years. He also got to talk about the Futurama finales that we've had and next year's finale a little bit. The cast maybe let slip something about a crossover that they shouldn't have, which will be really interesting to talk about. And Claudia Katz even talked about their relationship with Hulu, as well as the potential for a Futurama movie. So let's get into all this stuff. First, let's just go into my dream question. I got to ask David X. Cohen directly about what Nibbler meant when he said Leela is the other in the episode The Why of Fry.
She must be the other.
What?
And he gave a little bit of hints about what we might see next year. And a great episode you wrote, The Why of Fry, one of my favorites of the entire series. There's a moment at the end where it's when Fry is deciding whether or not he wants to have been sent forward in time. Mm-hmm. And Nibbler says, he describes Leela as the other. Now, I make videos about your show. I've gotten a lot of comments saying that he's just lying, trying to get him to go to the future. Was that is that set up for something? Is that something you're ever going to follow up, or is it just kind of generic, like important to Fry?
I'm going to play it, close to the vest, but I will say I think you'll be pleased to have more to worry about next year. Season 14.
Great.
There's an episode that involves the Niblonians that does follow up on that a little bit. Now, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but at least you'll have more to worry about.
So that's really exciting. We're going to see the Niblonians return next year. He, of course, said he didn't want to overpromise, so I'm not necessarily expecting a direct answer about why Leela is the other, but it does feel like this might tie into that a little bit more. And that's lore that I've been hoping they would continue to build on for this entire revival. It felt like they kind of abandoned it mostly after the Fox run, really. So that'll be really exciting. Next, I want to showcase, I was talking to Lauren, Tom, Dave, and David Herman in those group interviews, and both of them maybe let slip something that I think is coming next year that they were mistaken that was actually happening this year or had already happened. And I think it's really interesting. We might be seeing a crossover with Matt Groening's other show, Disenchantment. Here are those two interviews back to back and see what you think. All of you guys are a huge part of so many other animated shows, some that have been revived themselves. I know, John, you got a little Adventure Time cameo previously in Futurama. You had a little crossover there. Do any of you have any other roles or characters you would like to see cross over into Futurama? Just as a cameo or a bit.
I asked that, I don't know if you saw Disenchantment, but
I've watched it all.
I was very close to having Chaz cross into the Futurama world.
Oh, that would have been great.
I hope to see that.
Oh no, I guess it may be in the future. That may be in the future. So
I feel like fans really like crossovers.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see that we did one with Disenchantment and with The Simpsons.
Yes.
And, I think personally, just for me, because my kids are they love Bob's Burgers so much that I think they would lose their minds if we did a crossover with them. Yeah.
I would love that. I would love to see Tina's nervous energy with like Kif's nervous energy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It sounds to me like they've maybe already recorded this and it's probably going to be in the next group of episodes, which is really exciting. I would really love to see the Disenchantment crew back. It feels like a natural thing for them to be able to cross over with Futurama somehow. And I feel like if that's happening, it was probably written by Josh Weinstein, right? Who was the showrunner of Disenchantment, a longtime writer for Futurama, although he hasn't written in the Hulu seasons yet, and obviously a former showrunner of The Simpsons. So I would be willing to guess that next year we get a Disenchantment Futurama crossover episode written by Josh Weinstein. Who knows? Maybe they were just referring to something small. Maybe they're referring to small moments and it's not just a full episode. That would be my guess. It would obviously need to work out with Netflix and Netflix relinquishing the rights for the crossover. But I anticipate that the matte graining of it all makes that a little bit easier. Next, I want to highlight Claudia Katz talking a little bit about this Hulu run of Futurama and their relationship with Hulu and how she feels like Hulu really understands the show and that they have a great relationship.
It feels like the third time's the charm, because I think with our partners at Hulu and 20th, like we finally have sort of like partners and collaborators who understand the show and the IP and are, you know, actually excited about it and support us. And so this iteration has really been, you know, other than I'd say our first launch, which was just the excitement of, you know, sort of launching the whole, a series from the beginning, I think is really like, to me, the most rewarding version of this, basically. And
Great.
We do have a lot of longstanding, you know, writers and directors, and then, you know, it's always nice to get new folks in because you sort of just get new points of view, new, you know, it's fresh blood can be good, basically.
Totally. Yeah, it feels like a great partnership. Hulu seems to be in the business of adult animation. It feels like they've really made a hub for that stuff. Yeah,
totally. And they really get the show. They get us. It's really been delightful, basically.
So that was really encouraging to hear. It feels like Hulu gets the show. It feels like they have a really strong bond with the Futurama crew and they understand what the show is doing. And also it just feels like Hulu has become the sort of hub for adult animation. And with King of the Hill's recent success, I feel like that show's got to continue for a while on Hulu. I'm sure they're going to renew it for at least another 20 episodes beyond the 20 that they picked it up for initially. And so I think it would be strange if they continued King of the Hill and then canceled Futurama. I feel like they would want to have them both kind of live there simultaneously and make this a true hub for adult animation, given that they already get all of those big Fox shows next day, like Bob's Burgers and Family Guy and Simpsons and all that stuff. Next, I asked Claudia about the possibility of a Futurama movie. First episode of the Hulu run had a nice meta joke I liked, where they said they're picking up all my circuits for 20 episodes, maybe a 20 episode option, and maybe a movie. Is there, any chance that movie might be coming on the back end?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I think even more than Simpsons, Futurama is really like just the property itself is so much more conducive to features because, you know, we can sort of go anywhere, do anything. There's so many different, you know, conceits and themes and, you know, like fun things to explore. And it's actually native to our show instead of, you know, trying to introduce something that doesn't really belong. And so, it's something Matt and I keep discussing. So hopefully I think there's a place for that. I mean, I feel like, you know, and this is more of a David thing, but I think the writers sometimes really do approach, you know, writing these episodes with enough story that, you know, really could be a feature if you know, had like the luxury of time. And I think that finale, like actually sort of, you know, fits in that, you know, in that sort of concept very well. So I'm very pro Futurama movie.
Great. Me too.
I think we could knock that out of the park. And when we do our screenings, you know, sometimes we get to do we're doing a premiere screening for the crew on Saturday in one of the main Disney theaters. And boy, it looks awesome on a big screen. Like It really holds up and it looks fantastic. So we've already answered that question, basically.
So it's really encouraging that it seems like this is something that is on their mind and something they really want to see. I think she's right about Futurama lending to a potential feature better than a lot of these other animated shows would. I mean, maybe better than Bob's Burgers would, and they made a great animated movie. And also the show just looks really good and would probably look great on a big screen. So that's encouraging. I hope that does pan out. And I wanted to end this video with just this little bit that I talked to David about the sort of ongoing pattern of writing potential series finales. Next year is going to be their 6th potential series finale. David not only, I think, had some really cool things to say about this and hints for the future, but he just had some really lovely sentiments about what this show means to him and how he feels about it when it's not on the air. You're the architect of the show that seemingly won't ever die, comes back so many times. Next year is going to be potentially the 6th series finale attempt. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
That's amazing. You're going to have the record for most series finales.
Yeah, I've never known if that's something to be proud of or ashamed of.
Right.
Both. It's not easy to be that proud and that ashamed at the same time.
Do you think at this point there's ever going to be a point where you just intentionally say, hey, we're going to this is it. This is the last one. Or are you just going to kind of roll with every renewal as they come and keep doing them?
I feel like it would be wrecking tradition to say we're done forever. And because I have thought in my head we were done forever several times, and then it turned out we weren't. So I feel like we could kind of screw it up if we said we're done forever, and then some weird miracle happened that made us come back, So I will keep hope alive personally and say, even if all of us are gone, the show will continue on with its own life. So that's kind of a nice thought if you worked on something so long. That I think of the characters that as going on and living their lives even when we're not writing the show. So I sort of like to think in my mind that it doesn't have to be over. We saw some of it and maybe we'll see more again. So
yeah, I really loved what he had to say here about the characters living on even when the show isn't running. I thought that was really nice, and a nice thing to hear from him, the guy who has run the show for its entire, journey from 1999. And even before that, when it was in development, all the way to now here in 2025, with all of the hiatuses in between. I just think that's really nice. It's really sweet to see. So obviously these interviews had a lot. Next year, we are probably getting the Niblonians. We might be getting a Disenchantment crossover. Hulu seems to be a nice fit for Futurama. We may be expecting a renewal beyond these 20 episodes that they've recently picked it up for. And there might be a possibility for a movie in the future if things line up properly. Everything's up in the air. It all depends on how people react and how many people watch the new seasons. Hopefully everyone has checked out the new season, which is the first ever binge drop of Futurama. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out on Hulu. All 10 episodes are available. I have another video highlighting the more current season of Futurama, this new season, with this cast and crew interview if you want to check that out. Full interviews are up on my Patreon as well. There's just like a little bit more information there than in these sort of curated interview sequences that I did here on Johnny Too Casual. If that interests you, check those out on my Patreon. And that's all I got for you. Stay tuned on the main channel for probably next week. I'll be doing some Futurama coverage. I obviously have a lot to cover still on the main channel. August really burnt me out, so I'm moving a little slowly right now. But I'm out of town this week, and the next week I'll be back and we'll be covering at least a few episodes of the new Futurama that I really loved. Okay, that's what I got for you. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny Two Cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny Two Cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust a move.